But then I didn't. The next thing I knew, I was being dragged into the house by Granny, and when I woke up, I nearly scared her to death. She was sure I was gone. The thing is, I was, but I was awake. I could walk, talk, do anything I could while live, while except take my enjoyment or nourishment from food or drink anymore. I still drink that tea because it keeps my skin from turning grayish ash. I learned that from 50 years ago. He didn't go away, though, Granny broke in. I went out to deal with him, carrying my axe. He took my axe and he buried it in my back. I won't show you the wound, honey. Calvin shouldn't have shown you his, either. No one should have seen it. But that's how he works, Melinda, continued Calvin. He's got the knife, but if you try and use a weapon on him, he just moves like he doesn't even and takes it from you. You never stand a chance. He'll use whatever weapon and try to make you take him down to end you. Mr. Norris learned that the hard way. This is not happening. Melinda was about ready to break down. She had to hold it together. She had to get out of there somehow. Nothing about this was right. Nothing about it could be real. It was all a dream. Too much it didn't make sense. Her father calling her out of the blue, her leaving to go to him without a second thought, getting lost so quickly, and irreversibly no cell phone service anywhere on this road. This place, everything about it, she was dreaming. That had to be it. But if so, she was going to survive the dream. She turned and ran for the stairs. Her purse was still in her room, but she was going to grab for it and go. She had enough. Protesting voices began babbling behind her. She cared of not one whit. Mr. Norris was waiting at the top of the stairs. Contrary to Granny Royce's description of him, he was not that old at all. No more than about 40. But she saw instantly what she meant by not all there. The top of half of Mr. Norris's head looked normal, like a reasonably attractive man with dark hair and peppered with gray here and there. His eyes, a clear green, were moist with fresh tears. The lower half of his face, he was a ruin of bone fragments, shredded muscle, and blood. So much blood, his left side was similarly destroyed. His arm hung a few hangings of muscle. His hip was much of a mess of blown and blood on his face. He was kept one of his good hand on the banister as he shuffled towards her. Behind him was a young woman, in her bra and a pair of panties. Her stomach was cut open, looking out of the window with the bright, intelligent eyes that mangled the remains of a baby. Melinda then turned and bolted for the door. Her hand had just closed around the doorknob when Calvin rushed up to her, placing his freezing cold hand over hers. "They're not going to hurt you," he said quickly, "but he will. If you step out for as much as a moment, he will kill you and hurt you, and will go on hurting forever. After a while, you'll learn to function with the pain, but it never goes away." Sobbing, she started a question she had been afraid to ask since coming here. "Who is he?" "We do not know," said Granny, "from behind Calvin. He just came here and won't go away. He likes to watch us and do things to incite us to come out again. As soon as someone else does, he hurts them more. But no matter how many times he kills us, we don't die. Believe me when I say this. We all wish we could." Melinda had enough of this. She pushed Calvin away and threw open the door. He was standing on the porch. The knife was held out in front of him, just as face level. Melinda ran up at him at the rush, and the knife puncturing her right eye, and its tip slitting through out the other side. She just managed to see the grinning, pure white face of her killer before everything went black. A few hours later, the house erupted with screams from upstairs as Melinda awoke to a world of pain, the like she had never known. Well, my pretties, that was The House That Death Forgot, a creepypasta written by Josh Parker. My final thoughts on this story? Well, this is actually a pretty, it's a good creepypasta. I am willing to say it's a really great, creepypasta that does have, a lot of great concept. The fact that this is about a girl that goes to this house where she meets this Granny Royce person, and it's apparently something haunted, because when she goes inside, this house, haunted things started happening. Like, for an example, when if she tries to leave the house, she dies or something. And unfortunately, she does die in this story. So, I mean, I really do think that this is a really great story, and I especially really enjoy the great of this story of its own self. This story, honestly, was flat out amazing. I mean, the fact that it was haunted and all that, it actually made this story really well known for paranormal stuff. I mean, it's a really awesome story. I did hear of this story from Creepypasta as well as Lighthouse Horror, as he wrote read this story. Gotta really say to Josh Parker, I don't know if he has a YouTube channel or something, but if he does end up seeing this story, I want him to know that this story was a pretty good one. Has a really good concept. It's a definitely well-made creepypasta. I definitely gotta say, I mean, there's definitely a lot of time and effort into the story. Especially with the fact that, the concept of it and all, it seemed really well made. I mean, I really do like how, it's all paranormal. This Calvin person, that Mr. Norris person isn't real. But the fact that Melinda tried to leave, which was obviously a pretty stupid idea. But I think it was a stupid idea of her to come to the house in the first place. But the fact that she dies from being stabbed in the eye and all, I'm like, holy shit. That honestly that was a really messed up, ending. But at the same time, it's a really good story. So, I think what I really do like about it was the whole concept of this story. Honestly, flat out, actually, it really had a great going for it. So I really gotta say, I really enjoy the other people narrating this story, so I thought I would go ahead and, read this story. So I decided to, try and find out some time to actually narrate this. So, anyways, this story is well made. I really enjoyed this story. I thought there was a lot of time and effort into it, which it does. I like the concept. It's a really awesome creepypasta. It's a really well made story, and I honestly really enjoy how well this story really is. So I gotta really say it's a flat out amazing. So there's definitely a lot of time and effort into the story, so I gotta really say it was a pretty amazing, well-made story for a great concept, actually. I still thought this was a pretty neat story, and I still really thought that this one was really nice, in a sense. So, anyways, with that being said, and that being the case, it's a awesome story. I definitely really enjoyed this story, and for those who are into creepypastas and that, I recommend you guys check out this story if you haven't. It's on the regular Creepypasta Wiki. And I guarantee you now, it's a well-made story. You will not regret this story. So, this story was a pretty good creepypasta. It's definitely well-made. There's a lot of time and effort into it. And I personally thought it was neat. So, I guess with that being the case and that being said, I'm going to sit here and just say that this is just simply my own personal opinion. And if you happen to disagree with me, that's perfectly fine too. We're all entitled to our own opinions in regards to these creepypastas, and this is simply my own personal thoughts. My final rating is definitely a 10 out of 10. I like that this was a pretty good story, but the thing is that the protagonist, Melinda, in this story, yeah, I mean, this is basically almost like a horror movie, especially at the end where she gets stabbed in the eye and dies. What she did, was pretty stupid, was, trying to leave when that killer was out there. I mean, that was a pretty dumb move of her to do. But like I said, I mean, it's kind of like a horror movie in a sense. Because usually sometimes the pretty ones, or sometimes anyone in horror movies do stupid things. But I definitely gotta say, it actually plays a really nice part in this story, and that I gotta really say was really amazing. I mean, the detail of this story was honestly well made and awesome, especially with the whole storyline. It's amazing. So, anyways, I guess with that being the case, that being said, what did you guys personally think of this creepypasta? Did you all enjoy it? Did you all not? Also, what we have done personally to help make this story a lot better? Feel free to leave me now what your thoughts are down in the comments down below. I'm the Lion Queen. Thank you so much for watching today's episode. And if you're brand new here to this channel, feel free to leave a like, comment, subscribe, ring the bell for notifications to when I upload. And as always, please roll the outro because I'm out.